So today, I have with me, for a very special interview, the cast and creators of the motion comic Last Resort, created by Manor Stories.
Hello?
Animated by MJ.
Hiya.
Voiced by Silky Milk.
Hello.
Dorn.
Hi.
And WaverCD.
Thanks.
So I'm so glad to have you all here, and I hope you're doing well. So, Manor, can you tell us about this new project of yours, this motion comic?
Yeah, I can. So, Last Resort is a story I had in mind for quite a while. I had the opportunity to work with Devil HS on a comic, and as soon as the comic was finished, I wanted to create an animated version of it. So Mariana helped me doing the animations, and we voiced it. And I'm very happy to have the main cast here because you have done a phenomenal job. So that's it.
So how did the casting come about? How did you pick all these lucky ladies to join you on your project?
Well, I sent the comic to the Discord, and well, I received some response, and I'm glad all of you have applied to a role here. And with Mariana, we were picking the voice that we thought fit, and start from that. I have to say, in the entire process of casting, having the voice recorded took 3-4 weeks. It was super quick.
I see. Now, MJ, you've been working alongside Manor for some time now, haven't you? This is Last Resort isn't the only project you work with him on, correct?
Yeah, guilty as charged. I'm kind of the devil in his ear. More or less.
How so? Like, for the unaware, what is it exactly you do for him?
Pretty much everything. I'm part of the casting. I help with dialogue, script. I do animations. I do a lot of art. I do quite a bit of the character art. I do almost all of the colorings. Actually, the only thing I don't do is coding and music because those are just way beyond me. And voice lines. I have no idea how you guys do it.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the brains of the operation.
The brains? No. No, hell no.
Oh, boy. So, Silky Milk, you've done a ton of voice acting for a ton of different projects. What's special about Last Resort, and how did you find the voice for your character?
I don't know, it's really kind of like emotional. I enjoy doing emotional stuff. It was like a lot of screaming and kind of no, get away, all that all that kind of stuff. Which is always fun. I don't know, the voice, I just sort of auditioned with the kind of voice that I sort of just pick. Anytime you audition for anything as a voice actor, they'll give you kind of like a brief rundown of what they're looking for, and you just go with your gut, what you think voice would suit best that you can do. So I just did that, and yeah, I feel really happy to have been picked because it was really cool to voice for.
So, Manor, what were you looking for with Silky's character?
As she said, being able to bring an emotion, because half of her script is indeed screaming, breathing. So she had to express fear, she had to express desperation, but also during the lute scene, being sexy and, all that spectrum of emotions. And I remember a scream that haunted me for days in her audition. It's in the mix.
Oh, thanks.
Delightful, always delightful. Now, Dorn, you had quite the interesting voice for your narrator. How did that come about?
Well, I don't think I put a ton of thought into it. I just kind of say in my brain, okay, time to be a narrator, and I just get into the groove. That's basically it.
Well, surely you had some thoughts about like what you were reading off of, like reading about this sci-fi fantasy world that Manor had developed. What was running through your head reading the actual script?
That's true, actually, and I believe the audition referred to the Dune intro, which was great. I'm a big fan of Dune, so I knew exactly what they were talking about, and I have to credit that was great direction within the audition. So that also kind of influenced my choices. And the content, the premise of the story, definitely lent itself to that, to a more serious, astral kind of mood. The end. I'm done.
Well, we extended your script after hearing your audition. By the way, we added more lines.
What?
Yeah. Mariana helped me also to write those to be sure that they were at the level of your acting, because you give that deep voice. We can hear you for hours, telling the story. Well, you put it to a level that I couldn't imagine it to be. So it was great to play with that.
Yeah, when we first
It's a
heard
great
you
script.
audition, we were so sold on you doing John, but then your voice is so silky and smooth, and I don't know, it sounds like you're purring while you're narrating. It's crazy. It's
Mm,
so good.
cool. Thank you. Fact, Gamertron. I don't know if Manor told you this, but when he sent me the trailer, I freaked out a little bit, and I was like, can I do it again? Can I do my lines again? Can I send them again? And Manor, I don't know, judging from the way you responded, it felt as though you were a bit worried, like I didn't like your material. And I was like, no. It requires better voice acting. I need to redo this. And I've never asked anybody to redo the lines before. But Manor said yes, and so I re-recorded everything because I was like, okay, now I know what it's supposed to be. And I redid it. And he was kind enough to put it in, and I felt a little bit bad because it's time consuming, but thank you for that. So that's my little fun story. It's a great project. I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Oh my god, this is too wholesome. This is too wholesome. What is this? What is this? We're supposed to be talking about a lewd motion comic here. Come on now. Well, okay. Waver. So, tell us about your role, my guy.
Well, I was happy to play a role that within an erotic work that was a bit more of a kind of dramatic performance. It's not often I get to really indulge in that on this side of things. I mean, I do certain safer work projects and other things like that, but I've only more recently kind of been getting into like other people's works in the not safe for work voice field. Before I mostly just would do like audio books and such of sorts in this kind of realm, but it's been nice kind of branching out outside of my own personal projects to do more roles for other people, and this was a fun one. I liked the kind of demand of emotion from the role, and I think I hope I brought the right amount of kind of like internal struggle that the character was going through when learning the truth of things, so to speak. But yeah, it was a fun one because like that kind of like balance between the initial like kind of sense of discovery or wonder with him, and then kind of learning this like dark truth of things. It was a nice balance and I was happy to have that kind of range to work with for a role.
You can portray someone young and naive, but also you have this grain that gives the experience, and this is one of the reasons I had a crush on your voice. From grungy guy to someone that almost lost everything that he believed in, and we led later on a revolution. You have that voice of someone young that will become from the story a leader, and that's not a lot of people can do.
Well,
that.
I think it worked perfectly because that kind of character type is something I've voiced before, and outside of the erotic voiceover realm, I've voiced characters of a similar kind of ilk to that. The kind of like the young, but also feeling like they have like a certain hardenedness to them or like an experience to them.
Mm-hmm.
I've done voices like that type before, so I think it felt like a good fit for me getting into the role.
To me, it was when you gave the line "liars." That was so good. I remember when I
Thank
heard
you.
your audition. That was what sold me. It was so well delivered.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've been someone who's enjoyed just acting in general, like most of my life. I mean, I did theater in high school and a little bit in college, and then kind of just when I discovered my passion for audio work and stuff, I kind of took some of that and went into my love for erotic works and kind of merged the two together and started creating my own stuff. But it's been nice kind of bringing also that kind of that sense of, that drive to act also into this realm outside of just the normal stuff I do in my other voiceover work. It's been a pleasure working with such creative people in this this kind of industry that I've followed since, like, I mean, like, there's so many great creators in the not safe for work field that it just always blows my mind. Like when I find something new and be like, this person's just got really great artistic grit and talent, and it's a shame that this kind of stuff doesn't get more well recognized, because there's just as much great, powerful storytelling, I feel like, to be shared in this realm as opposed to any other form of entertainment.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna cry.
I agree.
Shit.
I completely agree.
Oh, this is so wholesome and nice. What's going on here?
Oh my god, Tron.
This bunch of debauched, erotic creators would be so... No, I'm kidding.
This erotic creation.
Yeah, you're a
It's
bunch
bringing
of
me to tears.
filthy pervs. No, I think that's the thing, though, is that people always kind of misconstrue is that anyone who does anything to do with, like, the erotic field has got to be some kind of crazed pervert. But actually, everyone's just a person, and it's extremely creative. And we've all been lucky to, work with people who have really creative visions. And there's so much talent as well. Like, Jesus, there's so much talent. And it's, everybody loves sex. Say it with
And
me.
I don't think people realize that a lot of these people that work in this kind of field too are also plenty talented and work in like other stuff as well.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. They're not
Mhm.
just doing, well, even if they are, that's fine. Like, you do you, like, it's great, but a lot of people, doing something else, or, it's just great. I really genuinely love the people that I've met while doing, 18 plus stuff. So
same.
Between non-safe for work creators, there is much more respect and less competition that you can find in other fields.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Definitely get a sense what you mean there. Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, I think that's true for voice acting in general. But then you take it down even more so with my limited experience with the erotic voice acting community too. It's even more supportive and less competitive,
Yeah, it's definitely
in my take.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. You're completely right. It's definitely more tight-knit, and it's one of those things where if you do the job well, you're definitely much more likely to be hired for things, because people need like that higher quality, especially with vocal work. No one wants some shitty sex vocals, do they? You want it to be, good, of high
Right.
caliber. So,
Yeah.
Audio is very important because it can damage a good image. If you have
yeah,
the voice acting that is completely off, then people will notice it off, and you can make people laugh at a scene that could be dramatic because the voice acting is just so bad.
That is 100% true. I mean, it's like it's sad to say, but it's just like I feel like the voice acting has to be at a certain caliber, otherwise it is going to be kind of like for me personally, it does throw it off when the when the voice acting is really bad. So it's like, I feel like it's important to find people who really care about it.
Damn, I don't know why I'm even here. You're all so out of my league. You could all run this. Why am I here?
Oh my
I took over for a sec there. I'm sorry.
I kid. That was delightful. You're all delightful. Oh, this is
Hello,
so wonderful.
how are you? I'm just gonna fade away into the shadows.
Wait, are you saying I'm Batman?
Whoa.
That's sweet Batman.
Waver, to add on to the question I asked earlier, not only did you voice act for Last Resort, correct me if I'm mistaken here, but you also helped with the script.
A little bit, yes. I can't remember the exact extent I helped with, but...
Well, that's why we have Manor here.
I'm the last resort memory.
In more ways than one.
You helped me presenting because I made a mistake, and I think half of the voice cast have missed one line. And,
right. And I helped organize just the script in a way that would make it more clearer and distinct for like what speaking lines were for what character and stuff. Yes, yeah. I always have a kind of list of color-coded, easy on the eye colors, color-coded listings of the cast roles at the top of the page, and then a little notifier that says any text inside parentheses is particular direction for the specific line. And that's how I go through it. I just have just plain black text is typically a description of a moment or a scene. And then I usually have a spoken line just written out with the color of the character that's casted to. And then I'll have in bold black parentheses sometimes if there's a certain directing comment I want to give to that line, I have it in there. And then sometimes if I have asterisks between asterisks and a bolded text, it's usually just describing a sort of vocalization that's not really a speaking line for that role. But I have a very just kind of my own way I go about scripting.
Excellent. Now, a question for both Manor and MJ. How did you come about designing this sci-fi world of yours? How did you build the world and come to a conclusion on how you want it to look?
I remember Manor talking about this so many years ago the first time. Do you remember we had a meeting and he said very tentatively that I have this project that I've been juggling and wanting to do? Do you remember? I think he had a really nice presentation and everything. He had thought about the idea so much at that point already.
Well, I contacted Devil and said I would be interested to work with him. So Devil HS does comics. He is very, very good at making them. And I just there and contacted him and say, hey, if you have a slot available for me, and he said, well, maybe in a year. And a year passed, and we knock at the door. Devil saying, hey, if you have a short comic you want to do, I have a slot for you. And then I say, yes, I have something. And then Last Resort Zero came in, and I still have the PowerPoint, Mariana. I wanted to tell this story of a man finding an android and the android becoming more human than human, and lead this revolution against this religious organization named Truth. This is the ultimate name you can find for someone trying to get power. I'm the truth. You cannot go against the truth because the truth is pure. Find your conspiracy theory, those kind of people that are spreading fake news and pretend themselves to be guardian of truth. So if you are a fan of Pixar, for example, you know that there is always a second story in any Pixar movie. Pick up the one you prefer. And Last Resort, the second layer is the danger of believing in guardians of truth. You didn't expect me to be intellectual about that.
Oh, well, spectacular work, you two. Spectacular work. It really is impressive how fleshed out you've made this world so far in such a, is it fair to say, short comic?
Yeah, it's a short one.
Yeah, well, it's very impressive what you've built so far. Very impressive. So, now, time to get to the part. Jeez, I'm just gonna pull this off. Just go say it, pull off like Mandy. So, Manor, MJ, Silky, how did the sex scene come about in design?
Well, I don't know anything about that. They wrote it.
I'll let you have this, Manor.
I send Devil HS, some let him draw.
Wait, so it's all Devil. You're just blaming Devil. All this is Devil's fault.
I'm not blaming him. I'm thanking him.
Is he here to defend himself? No.
No, that's why. But I don't know what to say. I'm always embarrassed by that kind of question. You know,
Says the man
I
making
mean, specifically, what the one in the fuck's it called?
the one in the brothel.
The brothel. That's the word. I was like, how much Game of Thrones have I watched? I can't remember the word brothel. Yeah, oh, that one. Why did
you know,
that was the only one that was...
I cannot describe any sex scene, even to Mariana
Well,
or Pixie Willow when I have to say, well, it's going to happen. I'm always like, you have his that play with me. He's what, Manor? Can you be more specific, please? And
we have a whole array of code words. Do you know what yogurt stands for?
What, please? No, please go ahead, Mariana.
No, I'm not. I mean, you can finish the sentence. Or do I really need to explain what yogurt stands for in our, code? Yogurt? No?
Ah, yes, yogurt. Sorry, I was. Yeah. Well, you can say it, but I will not be able to say it.
No, this is. Hang on, this is a safer work show. I can't say that.
Are you kidding me?
So yes,
in the words of a great porn star, just let it out already.
You started it, Mariana. You have to finish it.
We refer to man juice as yogurt. Happy?
Yogurt?
Yogurt, yes. Oh my
Yogurt?
goodness, we have the worst naming
That's
conventions.
just adorable.
I love that.
I am ashamed.
I love that.
Oh my god, I will never let anyone see our documentation. It is terrible.
Oh my god.
Terrible.
And then he spilt his yogurt all over her
Oh yes.
pillows.
Oh yes. Terribly sexy, isn't it?
Wads of yogurt poured around her.
He spilt that yogurt all over her face.
It would be a new, YouPorn category, yogurt.
What I loved about that sex scene, or I think it was the sex scene, speaking of yogurt, when their mouths were open and it had the panel where they're just panting, open mouths, kind of waiting for him, I just have to say the voice acting for that part was so inspiring. I hadn't heard like open mouth with the tongue out kind of sounds before because I'm really new to this. It was so hot. So I'm going to be trying that out, but I just heard so many different sounds that I hadn't heard before or yet or whatever. It was really outstanding work.
You're so fucking, you're too good for this world.
It was
oh my
very
God.
sexy. Oh,
it is a hot sound.
Reactions, Dorn.
It was very hot.
It's a hot
sound.
sound.
And the image, it really matched the image too. It was just like, oh my fuck.
You get out of here. I want to give you a hug. Come on.
We can get back to the real stuff at hand. Who else loves that sour dairy smell when the yogurt hits the face?
Oh my God. I do love a bit of yogurt. The
You
real
like a bit of yogurt?
You filthy pervs.
At this point,
I
the
do like
actual
myself a bit of
terminology
yogurt.
would be more safe for work. That's what you're saying.
Gotta say,
Oh
yogurt's
my
my favorite side dish.
I gotta cool myself down. I need some water. All this yogurt talk. Jesus.
Oh no.
Deary me.
Oh, dear Lord.
Next question.
Manor.
Mhm.
So,
Fan over there, Gamertron.
I'll be fine.
Do you want some yogurt?
Are you offering?
No, it was a joke, Mariana.
Oh man, the YouTube algorithm is sweating right now listening to this.
Yeah, it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
yogurt? Do I? Don't I?
Oh dear Lord. Okay, Manor. So, tell me, how are you developing part 2? How is that going to come about? Like, is it going to be a similar structure to part 1, or do you have some twists and turns in store for us? What can you hint at?
Okay, spoiler alert. Well, Jeanne will wake up. Well, you can hear that if you look to the credits of Last Resort Zero till the end. You can hear Jeanne breathing again. Paul will have some difficulties in maintaining her sanity because, well, she's just woke up from the ship, and they will realize that she has a couple of bugs. So first of all, she's super jealous. So she completely devoted to Paul that she now considers, her reason to be, the person that she shall protect, she shall love. Her first bug, she's jealous. Her second bug is she needs yogurt every day. So she had to have, frequent sexual relationship. I'm sorry, this is probably the weak or the hot spot of the story, but I still have to do some sex. So that's kind of the driver for that. So Jeanne needs sex regularly. She called that reset. So they need to reset regularly. And but there is still, the Paul disgust towards the Guardian of Truth, and with Jeanne helping him, they could also communicate with other junkyards, because wireless communication is forbidden by the Guardian of Truth because it's impure. If you want to maintain people under control, you have to be sure that they're not communicating. So this is that story, and Paul succeeds in contacting other smugglers and outcasts and starts recruiting them, and they while they are looking at the junkyards, they also find old Android models like Jeanne, and they start also building on that. And one way they make their revolution is they use the seductive power of their sexy android to corrupt some of the Guardian of the Truth, because, hey, behind the mask there is a man, and when there is a man, there is a
penis.
Something? Yes, thank you. And they kind of gather information from that, because a way to recognize that a man have at climax is
climax
either talking or fall asleep. So either talking or fall asleep, and this is how they gather information about the truth and how it's organized and lead their revolution.
So is part 2 going to be a feature film? My goodness, man. That sounds like an erotic epic right there.
I hope. It's the episode 0, so I hope there will be other ones. And for Resident Evil fan, don't worry, there will not be a Last Resort nemesis.
Okay, now this is a question for everyone else except Manor. So Manor says that he believes the sex is the weakest part of the story. Do you agree with that statement?
It's one of those things, it's not the weakest part. I just feel like it's not all about that, which is kind of, it's got a good balance. It's like, it is a sex thing, but it's not like, the sex isn't like, it's like emotional as well.
The main attraction of like the story or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like it does have like, in-depth characters and emotion and, other things to balance out. It's just like, one of those projects where sex happens to be in it, but it's not like, well, sex, this has got sex 24/7. It's like just a balance of things. So I wouldn't say it's the weakest part. I just say it's got a good balance. But that's my answer. I'm
a sucker for world building and settings, well-established settings and stuff, so that's definitely my favorite part so far.
Yeah, are you finished, Waver?
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I really agree with what Silky was saying, and it was almost for me when I was watching it for the first time. It was a really interesting kind of detour, but it didn't, it's a part of the story. It's very much in line with everything, but at the same time, I was taken out of myself for a moment in a good way. I was pulled into that scene, and I was just like, wow, really enjoying it for what it was in and of itself. And then it was a really neat, when you go back to Jana and the other guy.
Paul.
And yes, thank you. Sorry. You're going back and forth, and the suspense is kind of building. It was really cool. I don't know. It felt very balanced.
Emotional
felt really
turns are
good.
very well executed and felt very natural too. Like it felt like a actual scripted, piece that had purpose behind every like moment and scene and everything, and it all fed into each other.
Very sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's perfectly canon. I mean, all good important machines need oil to function, right? I mean, they need to be kept well oiled. I don't understand the confusion. I think it's perfectly natural.
Lots of yogurt to work.
You think the Tin Man was just running off of like nothing?
Yeah.
Dorothy's like,
The
yogurt on him.
angle.
To oil me, Dorothy.
Well, it's really neat too that this story shines a different light on pleasure. Those in the role of the whore. The whatever, the prostitute, the sex giver, whatever person. It really paid attention to her individual plight and the cruelty of it, and it was, I don't know, I appreciated that element of the story as well, because too often, the sex scene is very just, it's gratuitous, and there's no identity behind it.
Yeah,
But here it was
exactly.
different. Yeah, it was real. So I look forward to where this goes. It was really cool.
Yeah, same.
And I think it's really nice when you have, especially with certain sex scenes that might take it up very more like emotionally darker turn, or something that like plays out as an extension of it, to really treat it with the kind of maturity that's needed, where it doesn't feel just like gratuitous. And I thought you did that really well with how like the story kind of evolves from the sex scene there. You really feel for the plight of that character.
Yeah, I think the dramatic moment feels more impactful because you've been kind of lulled into, you've been focusing on other stuff. I think that's like it gives a nice foundation for what's about to happen next.
So Manor, what do you have to say to all that?
First of all, thank you. And because bringing it naturally is very important, and I'm glad that you noticed that. And I try. It's true also for Sylvia to have dialogues during sex scenes, because I think it's important also to have it done realistically. It's not gratuitous, as you said.
Ladies, I think you're all making the Frenchman blush.
I am.
Well, yeah, it is annoying when something's gratuitous. It's like, and then she was walking down the street, and then someone fell into her, and there goes his penis. It's kind of like, it's a bit annoying.
Ugly bastard on a train.
Yeah. He went to the shops. She bought some food. Oh no, the food clerk wants to have sex. Why? Who cares? Like, sometimes that can be a bit like, really? But this is a
You
great
happy you had a
story.
lifeguard on duty in your bathroom?
Don't you just hate it when you fucking go to the shops and someone just wants to have sex with you? Oh, darn it. Yeah, no, it's not like that. It's not gratuitous. It's really part of the story. And like I said before, I kind of already said this. I'm sorry, repeating myself, but I really do like that about it.
Now, question for MJ. Oop, sorry, Dorn. Oh, did you want to say something, Dorn? Dorn, did you want to say something? It's okay.
I think there's a delay, so sometimes I'll be talking when I think I'm able to, and I don't. So I'm finished. I'm done for now.
I'm sorry,
Alright,
this is adorable. This is really cute. I'm very
She
sorry.
speak at the speed of light. We haven't seen it coming.
So, MJ, can you perhaps walk us through your process and how you animate like certain scenes and characters in Last Resort?
It depends on the scene. I mean, it's not supposed to be obstructive because I think if you have a really flashy animation, it's really going to deduct from the art itself and the scene. So, I mean, if I can weave in an animation that you don't really take too much notice of, I'll be really, really, really happy. So it's not supposed to be like, all over the place. It's not supposed to really catch your attention. It's supposed to embellish what's already there. So that's what I really start with, and that's what I build on.
I see. But what programs do you use?
Exclusively Photoshop. I mean, to an embarrassingly degree. Like, I should really branch out. I mean, I make my life miserable because I have to get. I mean, Photoshop gives you so much control, but there's so many other software out there that just automates everything that I do to a much better degree. But because I have to have control of every individual goddamn pixel, I have to, I have to do it with Photoshop. It's ridiculous, really.
Okay. So, what would you want to branch out to? What do you think could help build on top of Photoshop? Like, whatever programs you think could help you animate better?
I mean, eventually, I think we'll have to go with Flash quite a bit. It depends on the media. I mean, we've been working on Sylvia for so long now, and now we're branching on to comics and comic dubs. And I mean, the media is changing so much that it really requires on the product. I mean, if we continue with Sylvia 2, then probably Flash, but we'll see.
All right then. All right. So now, Silky, tell me, when you saw the drawing of your character, what thoughts came to mind?
Whoa, hot damn! Whoa, mama! Whoa, you got a boyfriend? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I just thought the artwork is really beautiful. I really love the character designs. Like the women, they do look amazing, and they really are like gorgeous. And I love Jean's design. She's very pretty. Yeah, I just really admired it. I thought it was really beautiful.
Waver? What did you think of the artwork when you saw your character?
Like I think I mentioned earlier, I really liked his design a lot. Just this kind of like he has like very plain look in a way, but he also just looks very clean cut while also having the like almost like a mechanic look to him, but in a almost like scientist kind of way. It's a weird like marriage of different designs, I feel, into like a simplistic look that works really well. And yeah, the artwork is just fantastic. I was really blown away how it looked. I mean, I'm someone who finds like a lot of Western comic art oftentimes really rough to look at sometimes recently that I've noticed, especially in hero comics. They're very overly stylistic or messy looking, and this one just felt like it had a very clean cut, really all its own sort of art style, and it felt like on par with a lot of other great like actual comic books out there that you see like published on like comic book store shelves. It felt very much on par with that. It was really professionally done, I thought.
Well, I see.
Yeah, I think Devil HS is drawing comics for 8 years now.
I mean, yeah, it reminds me of like the art style of a few different like Image comic series I've read before. But yeah, like it definitely looks like a professional, well done product by someone who is very skilled at what they do.
Okay, so tell me, Manor, MJ, what's next for you two? More work on Sylvia? Like the second part to Last Resort? What's next for the both of you?
Well, I think we're 100% pretty busy with Sylvia for now. I mean, I'd like to cheat on the project a little bit more with Last Resort, but...
You dirty girl.
I'm a dirty girl. But no, I think we have to focus on Sylvia.
The game is branching, so that makes the writing and dialogue a little bit more complex to write, because it's not linear. We need also to have events that can resonate in the 5 different paths the player can take. So we need to be very careful in terms of writing. We already have some scene ready. A lot of pretty good artwork already done by BBC and called by Mariana. I cannot say MG, sorry. As you said in your review, we try to make a game. We try to make a game and not purely a cinematic visual novel with just tons of text and one character and a background, and it stands for hours, and that's all you get. We try to do more.
Sublime, fantastic work, you two. Phenomenal work. Hats off to you. So, how about before we start wrapping things up, I ask you all some quick-fire, funny bullshit questions. Sound like fun?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, Dorn. So, since you played a
Yeah.
narrator in Last Resort, can you give us your sexiest narrator voice?
What would you like me to say?
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Bravo!
Sorry, I didn't hear it right. Can you repeat again?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted as well.
Come on, I don't.
Opening of Star Wars, the Star Wars opening credit roll. There we go.
If I knew it. You're listening to Gamertron's interview with Manor and all of the talent involved on the Gamertron show.
God, that's so cringe. Please just call me Ryan. Fuck, Gamertron is so cringe. Why did I make this name? Curse you, teenaged me. Oh, oh Lord.
Excuse me, I need a moment.
Do you need a hand?
Well, if you're offering, then fucking hell, Dawn.
I want to hear Silky do some stuff.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
What? Are you trying to fucking joking?
Silky, can you give us your best French accent for Manor?
Without offending every French person listening to this, including Manor, probably not.
I will tell you after.
I will tell you after. This interview was very good, and I really enjoyed it very much. My voice goes all monotone like this. I'm not making fun of the fact. I'm sorry. I actually
love
did
it.
French in high school, but I've literally forgotten everything. Because I actually got pretty good at it at one point, and I just literally forgot everything.
Sacre bleu, madame.
I know, sacre bleu.
I could not tell the difference. I'm sorry, I literally could not tell the difference.
With what?
Like, you sounded like you were actually French. Okay, maybe I'm just dumb.
A man is sitting there like, this bitch. I'm so sorry, man. That was terrible.
No, it was great. I
If
loved
I'm
it.
not on the spot, I can do it much better. I promise. Jesus.
So, MJ, I'm so curious. Why are you an adorable bunny?
Why am I a what? A bunny?
Yeah, why are you an adorable bunny?
Long story short, this is my grandma gave me this plushie when I was born, and it was the first picture that I had at hand when I signed up to Discord beta, and then I never changed it.
Never change it. That is just...
That's
adorable.
my riveting story for you.
Okay, how about one more? If you could draw something like a new profile icon, even more adorable than that, what would it be?
More adorable than a bunny? Excuse me? Are you insulting me?
No, I'm sorry.
Are
I'm
you
so
saying that
sorry.
there's something more adorable than bunnies?
No.
Do we need to step outside?
No, I my deepest apologies, MJ. I'm sorry for my Canadian ignorance.
No, I love bunnies. Everything I have has bunnies in it. I'm not even kidding.
She
It's
about
terrible.
to throw hands.
Yeah.
I will too, because I love bunnies.
Rabbit. The rabbit.
Quiet now. I'm hunting wabbits.
No! No!
You wabbage.
No,
Oh.
damn it.
Manor. So, tell me. If you had to write a story, like a new sci-fi story or fantasy story, dark fantasy, whatever, but it also had to be erotic and a comedy, give me a pitch. Make a pitch on the fly. Come on.
Whoa.
Fantasy, erotic, comedy.
Sexy, erotic comedy?
Yes.
That's a comedy aspect that I have a problem with. Maybe a story about a thief, a professional thief that escaped from from cops, and she literally fell on the roof on the head of someone, and she not only fell from the roof but also fell in love, and they have a love story, and he tried to protect her, and she tried to teach him things about how to touch a woman, and what love can be, etc., etc. Something of that nature, with some comedy, because maybe the guy is not that experienced, and a good way to put the fear away is to laugh. And I think it's a porn star, I don't remember her name, that said that if you're not laughing when you're doing it, then you're not doing it right.
Holy shit! That was supposed to be funny. You made it wholesome. How did you do that?
You made it sexy. Yeah, god damn.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, I tried to be funny.
All right, now, Waver. Since you're technically playing sort of the protagonist in Waver's story, tell me, if you were the protagonist of your own exotic adventure, what would it be? Your fantasy come to life.
It would probably... Well, I certainly love cyberpunk settings. So I guess that just kind of comes to mind off the top of my head. Maybe two kind of outlaw, like sort of Bonnie and Clyde lover types in like a cyberpunk setting, with one being a sort of I guess like a self-insert for myself, would be like a gender fluid kind of femboy type, and then one who's like more of a sexy dude. or just a woman, whatever ones. And they would be kind of like these like outlaw like criminals that kind of almost maybe are a part of this sort of almost like Robin Hood sort of resistance, maybe something to that effect. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas. That would be kind of a fun concept.
Don't stop.
Oh, MJ wants you to keep going.
That was really good. I was really digging it.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to think here how I could expand on that, I guess. Obviously, like with cyberpunk settings, like body modification's a very common thing utilized in there, so that's kind of why in my
Listening intently.
So you could get a lot of interesting avenues at that. What was that, Dorn?
Mm-hmm. I've been listening, like really, I've been riveted. I kind of want to hear you talk more about gender fluid stuff too.
Well, I could certainly do that, considering I am myself. But
I want to experience. Okay, we're gonna talk later. Okay.
Oh, my love is blossoming in the air tonight.
Dorn's such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel like it would just be a fun avenue to explore, kind of like the relationship. I mean, cyberpunk doesn't often always dive into kind of the societal relationships and just romance typically within that genre, and I think that would be a fun thing to explore, because yes, it's like a kind of gritty dystopian corporate run kind of future setting where there's like often like a big like disparity between like the lower tier of society and the upper tier, but everyone's also got like this access to insane crazy technology and all the underbelly kind of criminal stuff that people either do to survive or just to get by. And I think, exploring a romance in that setting would be very interesting, especially with all the different body modifications. And if I'm thinking to like one of my favorite cyberpunk tales, like Ghost in the Shell, like in the series of that, there's one where Makoto, the female lead in that, they never make it clear like what her original body looked like. She identifies as who she is, but she's not like, it's more her mind or who she is, like in her like mind or her soul, that makes up who she is. And much of like people in a cyberpunk setting compared to what they physically look like, because you can just swap like between full prosthetic bodies and other things like that. You can look however you want to look, but so it's more like your identity is tied to who you are mentally. And I think that's just a fun thing to explore from a romantic standpoint. That'd be fun.
Holy shit, that's awesome! I love it. I want it. Give it to me.
I'm really hoping that the cyberpunk video game coming out next year is really thorough with the character customization and stuff, because I just think that would be just such a fun thing to explore with just all the like different modifications and types of characters, like gender bending, almost like types you could make through that, like where there's no like clear cut set gender type, or you could even just have very androgynous looking females or males or manly looking females, or just like you could just go so many different avenues with it. Being someone who's very much into kind of transformative erotica, I definitely look forward to that. So hoping for the best for that.
Next time on the Cyberpunk 2077 podcast. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute honor hosting this interview. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I feel like I'm underqualified for just how talented you all are, like, and having a dork like me here compared to all of you, like a mortal among goddess and goddesses. So, now, if everyone wants to go out and check out and support you all, where do they go? Manor?
Well, they can go on my Twitter, the Patreon as well. So there is plenty of way to find us and support us. And just a nice comment and a retweet. Sorry.
MJ.
Yes. Please go to our Patreon page. Patreon.com.
And if people want to check out and support you directly, don't you have your own Twitter and possible social media accounts?
Oh my god, you found me out. I'm rubbish with social media. I can't. Like, I'm too shy. Like, I have my art station. I can give you the link, but that's it. Like, I'm really, really shy. I'm really bad with social media.
Don't support them on Patreon. I'll eat both your arms and your legs.
Agreed. Thank you for that, Waver. Yes, I agree completely. So everyone, please follow Manor on Twitter and support Manor Stories on Patreon, and go to MJ's ArtStation account. Links in the description and comment section. And now for the wonderful cast of voice actors and actresses. Silky, where does everyone go to find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Silky Milk Voices, and that's it. Thank you and good night. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, if you could follow my Twitter, that would be brilliant.
Aye, you heard her, everybody. Dorn, what about you?
You can also find me on Twitter at DornVA. That's V for voice, A for actress, or VA for vaginal vagina. DornVA. Twitter.
Oh, delightful. Waver.
You can find me on Twitter at WaverCD. I'm sorry. You can find me on Twitter at WaverCD. And I also, if you just want random silly videos, I do have a YouTube as well under that same name. But yeah, Twitter has links to most of my major websites. My Patreon, my itch.io store, and anything else that might intrigue you. So yeah, check out WaverCD at Twitter if you want to follow me. Thank you.
You heard them all, everybody. Please follow and support all the lovely people featured in this interview, or I will hunt you down and break your legs.